That was easily not only the best premiere that The Walking Dead's had, at least since season 9, but just overall in general, that was one of the best premieres of the show. There is so much in this episode I could talk about, but I can't until the full review. But I'm going to try to get into it when I get back to my apartment. So let's jump right in.
A few moments later.
Oh man, this is going to be so hard to do without giving away spoilers. Ladies and gentlemen, I just got back from The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, episode 1 early screening premiere, and that's a tongue twister to say. Oh my God, it took me like 2 hours to get this out. Oh my God. Okay, so I watched the episode at 7 p.m. on the dot. It was however long, let's say it was an hour, blah, blah, blah. And then from there, of course, Danai, Gurira and Andrew Lincoln came out, which I'm not complaining about. But do you have any idea how hard it was not to talk about the episode for like 3 hours after? Oh my God. Okay, so I have to be very careful here because obviously I do not want to give anything at all away. And as you could probably imagine, a 6-episode series is jam-packed. So each episode, there's a lot of things that happen, and we naturally have a lot of questions to answer. All I could say, really, the only thing I could say is this episode was fucking phenomenal. I don't want to hype up people too much. I don't want to get people too excited. Maybe part of it is because I was in a theater watching it with a live audience and Danai Gurira and Andrew Lincoln there. Maybe, I don't know. But my God, it was awesome. And this episode certainly solidified the idea that this was a movie premise at first. Of course, we know that this became a series because it literally is airing this Sunday as a 6-episode run series. But this could have easily been a movie. If you've seen the trailers, which I'm assuming you probably have, that's the furthest I'll go as far as like spoilers go. But if you've seen the trailers and you saw that cinema-like quality, yeah, that's the show. Like it legitimately felt like I was watching a movie. Again, I saw it in the theater, so that may be part of it. But just something about the cameras, the digital, the color grading, just everything about this felt very movie-like and not like a show. And even the pacing has something to do with that. So obviously, because it's 6 episodes, there's a sense of urgency with the storytelling. And that definitely reflects on screens, whether you see that as a good or a bad screen. Whether you see that as a good thing or a bad thing is to be determined by you when you see the show. But the pacing felt definitely more like a movie. And that's why I think this works as like that sort of thing and why this could have worked as a movie. I really don't know what else to say without getting into spoilers other than a couple things. Andrew Lincoln's performance in this episode was honestly some of the best that I've seen in The Walking Dead. Okay, you know what I thought of the whole time, and I think you're going to get it when you see the episode. And again, I have to be very careful with what I say here. But you know some of the acting we got from Rick in season 7, episode 1, with the snot bubble and stuff like that, like, and how amazing of his performance, like you felt like he wasn't acting at all there. Yeah, you get a lot of that in this episode. And it's crazy because he hasn't been in the show for years. So to step into that role and again, I gotta be careful, but with a very, very emotionally charged series of scenes throughout this episode, it's just amazing at how well he does at just snapping right back into character. That was definitely a strong point in this episode, but there's so much more. Like, of course, I mentioned the cinematography, how it felt like a movie, the acting, but the set pieces, the landscapes of this, just the quality overall, and the side characters we've got already. They're very strong. They really are. This episode really encapsulated everything that I think should be from The Walking Dead, because we were lacking in quality in The Walking Dead for years. This show is not like anything we've gotten so far. This one really came out swinging, and I hope all of the 5 other ones are like this. I will say that this episode included a lot of shots from the trailer, which is a good thing, because that means we've already seen stuff. So now a lot of what we're getting past episode 1 is ambiguous. Of course, there's some stuff that wasn't in this. Again, I really have to teeter-totter here. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that. But the overall point I'm trying to make is I'm kind of glad that a lot of the shots we've already seen in the trailers came up in the show, obviously with millions and millions of added different contexts and you know, things there. So it's not like, oh, we're just getting shots from the trailer, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that. It's just, I'm glad we got a lot of the same shots because that means there's a lot in store that they don't want to show us. And I like that because even though, like I said, I was like, oh, okay, this shot was from the trailer, this shot was from the trailer. Yeah, it didn't matter because the context of the story was so good. And another thing that I want to say about this episode is that the visual storytelling as well as the written storytelling was phenomenal. While I did feel like it was a little bit fast-paced, as I mentioned, it was interwoven fucking brilliantly. It really was. This was, to me, and again, I think there's a little bit of recency bias because I saw it in a theater. Danai, Gurira, and Andrew Lincoln were there. There's a lot of that. But genuinely, this was kind of like a bravo Vince moment, except for me, bravo Scott Gimple, and everyone else that was working on this show. No joke. Like, I'm not kidding. This is why I think The Walking Dead can still work. This show proved it could. And even though I've been very skeptical in the past, I don't know. Look, I know I've always been one to call out shit when I see it. I know this is probably not that normal for me to give so much praise to a show, but I have to do it. Like, maybe you won't enjoy it as much as I did. I don't know. But I could tell you for certainty that you are going to like this first episode. It answers a lot of questions that we had in ways that I guarantee you weren't expecting. And my God, there's a ton of jaw-dropping moments. I don't want to dive into that further. I can't wait for you to see it this Sunday. That's all I got to say. And you bet your sweet bippy we will be covering it in great length on this channel. So definitely look out for a spoiler review of The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, episode 1, comes Sunday right after it airs on AMC. I can't wait to see you there. I'm so excited to talk to more people about it. The best thing about being at a premiere like this is I got to meet a lot of you, and it was great because we got to talk about the episode, and it was fun, like being in the know. That was pretty cool. But for those of you who were there that I met, it was so nice meeting you. Like, seriously, I've never met people who've watched me online before, so that was a little bizarre for me. Understandably, I hope you can understand that, but it was so nice to meet you all. It's great to see the community in The Walking Dead is thriving, and this season, I guarantee you, will rejuvenate it in some sense. It's just, it really was that good, and oh my God, I can't wait to talk to you about some of the gigantic things that happened in this episode, because there were big things in this episode. And with all that out of the way, thank you again so much for watching this video. I can't wait to see you back here on Sunday, and until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Peace out. This is making me feel very uncomfortable.